Hello everyone. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded to this channel. I still tinker with sabers every once in a while, and I look back at those times with nostalgic satisfaction at whatever small role I was able to play in the open source saber movement. The goal of S.T.R.E.A.M at the time was to offer an easy way to leverage an Arduino in a lightsaber, but without the need to actually write or build any of the code yourself. Nothing I'm sharing today changes that. The manuals and the instructions on GitHub will still work as they always did. However, now that I've mostly retired from the Saber hobby, it's time to pass the work on to the next generation. And to that end, I'm announcing the full release of the source code for my S.T.R.E.A.M Saber Control software. As a refresher, this was developed for the so-called Arduino system, pioneered by my good friend Andres Kuhn, aka Protonerd, of the now defunct Protoworkstat. Andres even made some all-in-one PCBs which operated as a Saber core, and I still use these in my personal Sabers. The things were bulletproof, they just won't die. And that's great. And at the heart of the system is an Arduino Nano with the ATmega 328 processor. This gets mated to a DF Player Mini to play the sounds and an MPU 6050 to detect the motion. Even after all this time, the parts are still readily available on eBay and hobbyist electronic sites. Because it's based on the original AVR processor that has been supported by Arduino for a very long time, the board is supported in the Arduino IDE by default, and it's very well documented. This makes it ideal for beginners as there's no board support package to download or any library compatibility issues to deal with for the most part. In most cases, if you follow the process I'm about to walk you through, it will just work. If you're experienced with Arduino, this will be extremely easy for you. After that, it could be potentially ported to whatever Arduino board you would like by expanding the code, but it's designed to work on an Arduino Nano. If you want to start working with the source code, first go to my GitHub page and then select the latest branch. At the time of recording, this will be version 1.54. Download the zip file to your PC. Unzip the file to a known location. If you only want to use S.T.R.E.A.M and don't want to edit code, then as I said earlier, of course, you can just run it as normal by using the start.stream.bash file. I've got a whole video on how to do that, so I won't rehash that here. But what's new is this code directory. This has all the source code for S.T.R.E.A.M. There are 3 folders: S.T.R.E.A.M firmware, S.T.R.E.A.M firmware libs, and the S.T.R.E.A.M GUI. Let's start with the firmware. This is the Arduino C++ source code. It's the sketch. Copy the contents of the S.T.R.E.A.M firmware libs directly to wherever you're hosting your Arduino libraries. If you're familiar with Arduino, this should be a familiar process for you. Now you should just be able to open the project with the Arduino IDE by double-clicking on the S.T.R.E.A.M firmware.ini file. Now before we can build and upload, let's check some configurations first. Open the S.T.R.E.A.M build config.h file. If you're building a Saber with a NeoPixel style blade with the addressable LEDs, uncomment the pixel blade #define statement and comment out the RGB blade line. Otherwise, leave this as is to use an in-hilt RGB high-powered LED saber. Most combat sabers kind of use the in-hilt because there's not much to go along with them. They're tough as nails. But if you're fancy and you want the pixel blade, just swap those lines around. Assuming you had no build errors, it's just like any other Arduino project at this point. You can tweak the code and play around with it however you would like. Go ahead and explore. I'm not really going to provide a programmer's guide or anything like that, but it's not really too complicated. There's actually less code than you might expect. One note, S.T.R.E.A.M is based on a slightly tweaked version of my Universal Saber library that's also available on GitHub. It's totally open source, but all of the low-level controls, like the interface to the DF Player MIDI, are handled there. Again, all open source. The libraries are open source that are included. You can go in there and play around if you would like to. Now, let's move on to the GUI. That's a graphical user interface. This is the app that runs on your PC. It's Java based, and all the source code is included in the S.T.R.E.A.M GUI directory. In theory, any competent Java developer can probably get it to build with various tools. My goal here is not to train up Java developers, but I'll tell you what I used is Apache NetBeans 1.6. I used various older versions, but that's the latest version that I've used that allowed the project to build and work. All the files necessary should be there, so have at it. Again, I'm not trying to train Java developers or run a seminar on how to write GUI code, but the code is there. Have fun with it. So that's pretty much it. As I said at the top of the video, I've mostly retired from the hobby now. That's not to say that I'll never pick it up again, but I do poke my head in once in a while to see what's going on, and I wanted to do a little something to give back to those who were so supportive of my efforts way back then, and maybe help kickstart anyone who might be just starting out. S.T.R.E.A.M is an artifact from a unique time in my life, and without getting too sentimental, I do look back with fondness at the people I was privileged to collaborate with, learn from, and at the work that was done. So, for whoever wants it, the code is there. Please enjoy. And of course, may the force be with you, always.